So a couple of weeks ago I went out to the Museum of the American GI in College Station, Texas to have a bit of a day out. It wasn't as big as many events due to COVID, but still it was nice to see a little bit of activity and make sure that the museum scene is still going strong. Now, being of course the Museum of the American GI, not just a World War II museum, they have a nice spread of activities and equipment. Such as, of course, this World War I field, in which you can even tour the trenches. But they do, of course, have some pretty good equipment as well, such as this French 75, for which, of course, the drink was named, or this very nice little Nash quad. Of course, it's also a lot cleaner than it would have been in World War I. Another very nice vehicle they have is, to my knowledge, the only running FT in North America. And this is an FT, not a 1917, the American variant. Note the wooden idler wheels. It is a runner, ordinarily, although the magnetos were out at this particular moment. Lovely little restoration, and I suspect we will see this vehicle again in the future.
If you have any questions, I'll try and answer as best I can. Nah, I'm good.
And of course you move on from World War I to World War II. Now, something I do like about these live events isn't so much the vehicles as much as also the collectors who gather together whatever they have and often provide some esoteric information.
Yeah. The United States Army had pigeons until 1957. At one time, there was over 200,000 pigeons in the U.S. Army.
Or this chap who has decided to display an army post office. Again, all this stuff collected, you don't think about it, but it's all a valid part of World War II.
To accompany you in entering the city, which you have so gallantly captured.
That is Patton in the background, by the way.
There you go. Alright.
Folded it. You wrote your little message. Right there. And what would happen is once you write your message, once you write your message, you address it to your soldier, you send this in just like that, fold it up. If it was going the other direction, you have to leave it open so the sensors could mark out what, hey, I met my buddy from the 101st. Nope, take that out. So what happens is once they get this, they process it, they take a picture of it, stick it on microfilm, and ship it back either direction. Because a microfilm could hold 1 million of these suckers, and it'd be like, it's a little roll of canister. And they can use the other space saved by not shipping these full-size ones filled with ammo and other supplies like that. And once it reaches its destination, the other side of the ocean, they would then take that microfilm, print them back out, put them back on one of these, and send it on their way.
Okay, I'm here with the bad guys. Who are you?
We are Der Jungsturm. We are the best 12th SS unit in the country. And what we have on display today is the typical combat load for the average infantry soldier in World War II, particularly in the Waffen SS.
How many SS units are in the country?
Too many to count, that's for sure. Far more than actually existed.
Okay, let's see what you got.
So, the first thing we'll go over, since it's the biggest piece of eye candy, is the MG42 machine gun. Everyone knows this from the video games. They've seen it before. It shoots 25 rounds a second. It's the expanded version of the MG34, which was the first developed light machine gun of the military history. But the gear itself, as a machine gunner, it requires some special gear. For example, this pouch here is a machine gunner tool pouch. It carries spare parts as well as a spare bolt and some other little things to help clean and maintain this gun, as well as a pistol holster for in the event that the machine gun is unable to be used any further. Some more gear are some combat suspenders. These are tropical variants, which was common in the 12th SS Hitler Youth Division. And attached to it is a Zeltbahn. This is a tent quarter, which can also be used as a rain poncho. Now, the thing about German camo is that it's all reversible. So it has a spring side, the green, and it can switch into a fall side, which we can demonstrate later over there. Next thing is a mess kit. Very big, clunky piece of equipment that they would have to carry, but at the end of the day, it was hard, and sometimes soldiers would be able to carry things like eggs or any kind of extra food that they wanted to. Next is the typical ammo pouches. These particular ones are ammo pouches for the Kar 98 rifle, which was the standard bolt-action rifle of World War II. Almost every single soldier had one at one point or another. Above that is the standard issue Stahlhelm with a typical Waffen SS helmet cover. This is what it looks like without a helmet cover. As you can see, there's the SS decal on the right side. And this is what the liner looks like. Next is the bread bag, and contrary to popular belief, the bread bag doesn't even carry bread. It's actually essentially a 24-hour bag. It carries extra socks, any extra gear that you might need, food, whatever the case may be. That goes in this little bag here. And attached to it, you can attach your mess kit to the side, as well as your canteen. This canteen is 3/4 of a liter. And as you can imagine, that's not enough to sustain you for the whole day. They'd have to go through several of those just to quench their thirst. Right underneath that is the standard issue entrenching tool. There were two variations of this. There was the folding variant, which we don't have here, and then there's the standard variant, which is the straightened version. Next to that is a standard bayonet. These bayonets were issued to every soldier. And it's just a piece of equipment that everyone would have, but for the most part it was used more or less as a tool to help with assisting in digging foxholes or whatever the case may be, whatever they need. A side cap here, just a standard side cap for their uniform. Nothing too crazy about these, but in the 12th SS, this is what the ones that they had looked like. Next is the gas mask. So the whole gas mask assembly is a bit confusing for people that aren't fully in the know about it, but there are several components of this gas mask which makes it very special for the German soldiers. As you can see, there's a lot of different things here, but the first thing we'll talk about is the gas mask itself. The gas mask came in several variations. You have the rubberized canvas version as well as the rubberized versions, which came later. In the event of a gas attack, the soldier would first put on his gas mask, then he would remove this cap at the bottom here, which the cap is currently off. That way it'd allow him to breathe. And the thing about these filters is these are charcoal activated. So unlike the Americans and British using asbestos, the Germans decided to use charcoal. The next thing that would happen is the German soldier would take out this bag here. It's a rubberized piece of paper, and the purpose of this is to be thrown over the soldier, almost like a cape, so that gas does not get on the soldier himself. Basically to protect him from acidic chemicals. Of course, nowadays we have things like mop suits, but this is what they had to do back in the day. After the gas attack was over, they had to use these bottles to help with removing the remaining gas that was on the soldier. This orange one was put all over the wooden rifles and any wood that they had so that it could seep into the wood and prevent the wood from leaving trails of the chemicals, which would end up giving the soldiers blisters later on if they didn't use this. This bottle here was full of tablets that were to be crushed into a water and then spread all over the exposed skin. That way any gas chemicals that remained on the soldier's skin could be taken care of so that the soldier is not dealing with blisters later on. Aside from that, we do have some examples of typical Waffen SS camouflage. Here is the DOT 44 uniform, Erbsenmuster. This was a fatigue uniform which was meant to be worn over the wools. And next to that we have the most famous versions of the camouflage. We have a full smock here. This was thrown over the uniform to camouflage the soldiers. These were typically issued with the helmet covers and the Zeltbonds, which we have here. This is a Zeltbond, and so as I mentioned earlier, there is a reversible side. So here is the fall pattern, and then it changes over to spring depending on the time of year. So that is the field gear that the typical Waffen SS soldier would have during World War II, and there's not too much else to say about that. They lived in it, they died in it, this was their kit. Pretty simple.
Is it comfortable?
It can be, so long as the belt is tight and everything is strapped on. you don't have to worry about things flying around anywhere or banging you anywhere like that. So yeah, it can be pretty comfortable.
Can you compare it to other period uniforms? Have you worn American World War II or British World War II?
Yes, I have. I've worn American stuff. I used to portray Americans back in the day when I was first getting into this. And compared to the Americans is more utilitarian, it's more versatile, it's a lot easier to take the gear on and off. And you know, the idea is that with the German stuff, you basically need a friend to do everything. You can't do it alone. And you know, hopefully you don't have to use the restroom or anything, because you got to take it all off and it's a bit complex. But GI stuff, meanwhile, American GI, all they had to do was unclip a buckle and it's all off. So compared to the American stuff, it doesn't even match up.
So is that why they're off? You couldn't take a dump without a friend.
Well, there is a saying, the side with the simplest uniform wins.
Yes, it's the Zukommen-Officer.
Yes.
Also known as the inverse law of military plumage.
Yes.
All right, so again, name of your group, and do you have a website?
So our group is Der Jungsturm, DERJUNGSTURM, Der Jungsturm. We are the 12th SS Division, one of the best in the country, if not the world. Our website is derjungsturm.com.
Of course, it's not all serious. There is a little bit of room for fun and games. Here's Mike.
Have you been paid? Have you been paid? Young man, have you been paid?
No.
Have you been paid? Come here. Come here. What is this Wehrmacht coming to ever since Stalingrad? It's just gone to...
Good luck, bud.
All right. Come here. Come here. There's 20 Reichmarks for you. 20 Reichmarks for you. Don't run away yet.
What do you say?
20 Reichmarks for you. 20 Reichmarks for you. There you go, young lady. 20 Reichmarks for you. Now, don't go away, because you're going to have to make me a promise. You're going to have to make me a promise. Can you make me a promise?
Yeah.
Can you make me a promise? Yes, sir. Can you make me a promise? Can you make me a promise? All right. You ready? Come in closer. All right. If the Army paymaster sees you with that money, the German Army paymaster sees you with that money, he stops you, and he wants to know where you got that money from. You never saw me.
And of course it goes right the way through to the modern stuff.
All right, so talk to me about changing track. I mean, it looks like to pull a road wheel, you got to pull off the support bar.
We were taught in school and all this kind of stuff, but each platoon would have a maintenance man. I just showing that spare track. I told somebody a while ago, for the 13 months and 12 days I was over there, I never had to fool with a track.
Really?
Never had.
Just tension it once or twice, and that's the end of it.
These things had no. I never had a problem. If I did, it was a maintenance guy. So, you know, they would have a guy in our platoon. But we would be gone. I had very little problem. The stupidest thing I ever did one time was at Dong Ha. And boy, I didn't get court martial. There was low spots. And near the airport we go, and that's where we parked it during the day. And at night we take it out and guard the end of that airstrip. And one day we were tired, you know, we always tired. I slept through the little rainstorm and over there in a little hut from here to these people over here. And I looked up in that low place and my vehicle was full of water right. Not like that right there.
As you find out, is it amphibious?
And I cranked that son gun up and got it out. But it had water right in the deal, and it wasn't the next day or two we had to go out in the damn field and that thing was missing. I didn't say a word to nobody. I'd probably burn all that stuff out.
So you find any place you couldn't go in this thing?
Yeah, I got some pictures I wish I could show them. You know, we could go places tanks couldn't go. and I got pictures of tanks over here now. They tried to keep us on the main
On the MSRs, main highways, yeah.
They didn't like us going out, because we'd go a little ways, but they didn't want us to break down out there, because then they would have to guard us and take care of us till we get fixed, something like that.
Were you normally attached with the tanks, or did you you were separate? All right.
Yeah, we were normally attached to a Marine unit platoon, and we were attached to a drutch, and they primarily didn't want us to be with them. They wanted us at a perimeter at night, but they didn't want us on a patrol.
Yeah.
Because where they could go, where they went, if something happened to us, they had to stay there again.
Stay there and guard it, yeah.
But we could go a lot of places. I got a lot of pictures in here. I can show you. I can find them. We'd go anywhere a tank could go. We'd go more.
Yeah. So you go in sections of 2? You go 2 vehicles at a time?
Oh, yeah.
In case one broke down, you could tow it out with the other?
But we always had two or three. There are 5 of us in a unit and everything like that. And
fair enough.
I was it's been a while, 50-something years ago. I was in platoon Company B. Company B, platoon 2 or something like that. And we'd 5 of us, and we'd be attached to groups of grunts. And my other company, I'm a little fuzzy on my memory, so don't verify this, because they would be to another unit. So we could be in the same company in these outfits, but we may be 100 miles apart from each other, probably something like that.
And when the day is done, if you don't feel like walking back to the car park, you can get a lift in a military vehicle. Although the sight of a Humvee or LMTV crossing a World War II Bailey Bridge guarded by a 101st GI is perhaps a little bit incongruous. That said, look at this. Look at the driver. No helmet. And as for the guys in the back, no helmet, no troop strap, totally unsatisfactory. Wouldn't fly in the modern army. Okay, that was a bit of satire, but it actually is true. And there you go, nice little day out done. It is, of course, College Station. It's within driving distance of Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, or Austin, and admission is pretty reasonable. So there you go, keep an eye out on the website for the next one. Take care.